Tonight, Democrats hammering Donald Trump, saying he literally stormed out of his much-hyped meeting with top Democrats on this 19th day of the shutdown. They say when faced with opposition, he basically freaked out and stormed out. And when they rebutted his demand for wall funding, he said, quote, bye-bye. So tonight, the news is that Nancy Pelosi is telling the country Donald Trump is the worst kind of adult, one who acts like a child. Her critique echoes something Sean Carter said a long time ago about a friend who was so immature she would show out in public, throw tantrums on the floor, gotta toss a couple dollars just to shut up her holla. Well, today the Democrats say Trump is literally throwing a tantrum, and they won't toss any dollars for wall funding, no matter how much he hollers.
We saw a temper tantrum because he couldn't get his way, and he just walked out of the meeting.
It was a petulant president of the United States, a person who would say, I'll keep government shut down for months or years unless I get my way.
Let's turn to Professor Michael Eric Dyson. Professor Dyson, what do you think of this issue with the temper tantrum and the dollars?
Well, first of all, your citation of Jay-Z is spot on. To quote Jay-Z quoting Biggie, paraphrasing, when the gimmies in the system ain't no telling will he love him or he dissed him. And clearly he dissed him because he couldn't get what he was wanting. I mean, this is ridiculous. We thought that the president would make a transition into gravitas. Here he is sitting in the Oval Office, feigning dignity, but he had agitas. He had heartburn, moral heartburn. And here is a man we already know has governed like a toddler. This is a toddler presidency. And when toddlers can't get their way, when they demand something and can't have it returned to them immediately, they throw a temper tantrum. And this man, unfortunately, sitting in the most powerful office in the United States of America, and indeed the world, has exhibited behavior that is insulting to be compared to toddlers. So I think that the Democrats are right. Hold the line. This man is not serious about borders and immigration, because if he were, he would talk about DACA. He would talk about trading one for the other. He would speak about what we can do to beef up not only security, but the right kind of security against those who hurt and harm us. When we look at those who have been hurt and harmed, for the most part in America, they are not by people coming over borders who are immigrants. They are American-born people, whether they are domestic terrorists or whether they are people who have committed harm against another citizen. So Donald Trump is far off the path here, and I think the Democrats are right to hold the line.
Right, and the anger management issues is a remarkable aspect of this. I also, as a teacher, which you are, I want to play for you some of what Donald Trump said in this much-hyped address, because you can actually compare it, and we've done this, to some of his past speeches.
Right.
Thousands of Americans have been brutally killed by those who illegally entered our country. We cannot continue to allow thousands upon thousands of people to pour into our country. Women and children are the biggest victims, by far, of our broken system. They steal children, in many cases women, unfortunately. They steal women. This is a choice between right and wrong, justice and injustice. I'm thinking about what's right and what's wrong. And we need a physical barrier.
I have to ask you, as a professor who teaches students, if one of them turned in a final paper with this much material cribbed from their prior assignments, at what point is that a kind of self-plagiarism, Professor?
Self-plagiarism, F- grade. Look, if you were a great oratorical wizard and you were looking at set pieces that you would use and integrate in every speech that you would use at the climax, then we could accept that. This is not the case. This is a case of poor speech writing, poor thought, poor conceptual analysis. And if he turned this paper in to me at Georgetown University, I would send him directly to the dean's office to be considered a person who needs not only remedial care, but potentially to be kicked out. This is ridiculous.
But Professor, would the dean have his birth certificate?
Very good point, sir, because we don't know what planet this might be coming from. But what we do know is that Donald Trump needs a course in remedial rhetoric and also the ability to empathize with human beings. And finally, just to have some gut bucket analysis of the situation before you. Don't bring out the old tried and true stuff that has not worked in the first place to put it before the American people for an 8-minute speech. It doesn't work. Well,
I have to tell you that the birth certificate question, that's just something we ask about all presidents. That's just something we do. Every president. That's right. It's always an issue for every
president we've ever had.
President.
We've asked them about their president and their grades.
And their grades. Professor Dyson, you gave out some grades. The Beat will give you a grade. We give you an A. We appreciate you coming on. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.